The human boy's screams ripped through the Zanari torture chamber as their chitinous claws tore into his flesh, the insectoid aliens desperate to extract Earth's military secrets from the child's mind before the revived human soldiers came for revenge. 14-year-old Elias Morgan writhed against his restraints, every nerve in his body shrieking with agony. Nox, the Zanari interrogator, clicked his mandibles, compound eyes glinting. "Your defiance is futile, human child. Your primitive species cannot hope to stand against the Galactic Council's might. Reveal your planet's hidden capabilities, and perhaps we shall grant you a merciful death." But Elias, though young, possessed an iron will forged by the secret training program that had honed him into a weapon. He spat blood at Nox's feet, growling through gritted teeth. "Go fuck yourself, you overgrown cockroach." Light years away on Earth, Joseph Morgan stared in horror at the video transmission of his son's torture, cold rage and desperation warring in his heart. The retired Special Forces operative stormed into the classified government facility, slamming his fist on his former commander's desk. "Why the hell are those council bastards targeting my boy?" Colonel Briggs sighed, the weight of years of secrets bearing down on him. Elias was part of a top-secret initiative, training gifted children to infiltrate alien societies. The Zanari discovered his true purpose and abducted him for information. Joseph's knuckles whitened, his voice lowering to a deadly whisper. "You turned my son into a goddamn spy without my knowledge or consent?" "We had no choice. Earth needs every advantage in this galactic Cold War," Briggs replied grimly. "But there may still be hope." He led Joseph deep into the bowels of the facility, to a hidden vault known only as the Cryo chamber. Inside, row upon row of cryogenic pods housed the slumbering forms of elite soldiers from ages past, preserved for humanity's darkest hour. "This is our secret weapon," Briggs explained, his voice echoing in the eerie stillness. "The greatest warriors and minds from across human history kept in stasis for just such an emergency. And now, with your son's life and Earth's fate hanging in the balance, the time has come to awaken them." Joseph's face hardened with resolve, the anguish of a father's love transformed into the cold determination of a soldier with nothing left to lose. He knew that reviving this ancient army would be humanity's last desperate gamble. But for Elias, for the chance to make the Galactic Council pay for their crimes, he was ready to risk everything. The survival of his son and of the entire human race now rested on the success of this audacious plan. Failure was not an option. Joseph strode into the cryo chamber, his footsteps echoing on the metal grating. The vast room stretched before him, its walls lined with row upon row of stasis pods, each one containing a slumbering warrior from Earth's past. He approached the control panel, his fingers flying over the keys as he initiated the awakening sequence. A hiss of escaping gas filled the chamber as the pods cracked open, spilling tendrils of frigid mist across the floor. The soldiers within stirred, blinking away the fog of centuries-long sleep. Among them, a familiar face caught Joseph's eye. Marcus Reeves, his old friend and comrade in arms. Marcus stumbled from his pod, disoriented, his eyes darting around the unfamiliar surroundings. "Joe, what the hell is going on?" Marcus rasped, his voice rough from disuse. Joseph clasped his friend's shoulder, steadying him. "We've got a situation, Marcus. Earth needs us again." As Marcus regained his bearings, he helped Joseph rouse the other soldiers. Sergeant Emily Holt, a fierce warrior with a talent for alien languages, and Corporal Liam Nakamura, a tech specialist known for his skill at hacking alien systems. Joseph quickly briefed them on the dire circumstances, his son's abduction, the Zanari's sadistic torture, and the threat to Earth's very existence. As the team geared up with advanced weapons and armor, sleek and deadly, a chime sounded from the communications console. Joseph's blood ran cold as Nox's visage filled the screen, the Zanari's chitinous face twisted in a cruel sneer. "Greetings, Joseph Morgan," Nox clicked, his voice dripping with malice. "Your pathetic Earth has a choice to make. Surrender your leaders, dismantle your armies, and submit to the Galactic Council's rule, or watch your son die screaming." Knox leaned closer to the camera, his compound eyes glinting. "Did you really think your species could challenge us? The Zanari have controlled the Council for years, pulling the strings of the lesser races. Earth is just another pawn to be sacrificed in our grand design." Joseph's hands clenched into fists, his rage burning hotter than 1,000 suns. "You've made a grave mistake, Knox. When I find you, and I will, there won't be enough left of you to fill a petri dish." "Bold words," Knox chuckled. "For a primitive ape about to lose everything, your move, human." As the screen went dark, Joseph turned to his team, his eyes hard as flint. "We're going to get my son back," he growled, "and we're going to make the Zanari pay for every drop of blood they've spilled. Gear up and get to the hangar. We're taking the fight to them." The soldiers nodded, their faces set with determination. They boarded the state-of-the-art stealth ship, a marvel of human ingenuity and alien tech. As the engines thrummed to life, Joseph plotted a course for the Galactic Council's headquarters, where he knew Elias was being held. Suddenly a distress call crackled over the comm, the voice on the other end laced with panic. "This is Waystation Zeta. We're under attack by Zanari forces. They're slaughtering everyone. Please, if anyone can hear this, help us." Joseph hesitated, torn between his desperation to reach Elias and the knowledge that innocent lives hung in the balance. He glanced at his team, saw the same conflict etched on their faces. "We're the only ones who can respond in time," Emily said quietly, her hand resting on the hilt of her plasma blade. Liam nodded, his fingers already dancing across the ship's sensor arrays. The station's databanks could have valuable intel on Zanari movements and council politics. It's worth the detour. Joseph closed his eyes, drew in a deep breath. When he opened them again, they blazed with renewed purpose. "Set course for Waystation Zeta," he ordered, his voice ringing with authority. "We'll deal with these bugs, gather what information we can, and maybe even find some allies in the process." He met Marcus's gaze, saw the same fire burning there that had carried them through countless battles. Time to show the galaxy what happens when you mess with humanity. As the stealth ship knifed through the void, racing toward the besieged station, Joseph let the rage and love that fueled him crystallize into an unbreakable core. He would save his son, whatever the cost, and heaven help any Zanari that stood in his way. As the stealth ship hurtled into the void, alarms blaring and smoke billowing from damaged systems, Joseph gripped the armrests of his command chair, his face bathed in the hellish red glow of emergency lights. The Waystation Zeta rescue mission had been a brutal baptism of fire for his resurrected team, a stark reminder of the Zanari's ruthless efficiency and the desperate stakes of their quest. The station had been a nightmarish labyrinth of death and destruction, swarming with chitinous horrors and their soulless robotic drones. Joseph and Emily had fought their way through blood-slicked corridors, plasma rifles flashing in the gloom, the stench of scorched chitin and melted circuitry thick in the recycled air. In the command center, they had found only the mutilated corpses of the station's crew, their faces frozen in rictuses of agony. But in the medbay, amidst the carnage and the chaos, they had discovered a flicker of hope. A band of Asharans huddled in terror, their luminous eyes wide with fear and desperation. Zoran, their leader, had stepped forward, his voice a soothing whisper in Joseph's mind. "The Zanari, they have enslaved my people, used our gifts to control the minds of the council races, experimented on us like animals. We will fight with you, Joseph Morgan of Earth. Together we can break the Zanari's hold on the galaxy." Joseph had clasped the Asharan's slender hand, feeling the weight of an alliance forged in blood and shared pain. They had fought their way back to the ship, Zoran's people in tow, their telepathic abilities a potent weapon against the Zanari's drones. Marcus and Liam had met them at the airlock, their faces grim. "It's worse than we thought," Marcus said, his voice tight with tension. "The Zanari have a mind control device, something powerful enough to enslave entire worlds. And Elias, his abduction was bait, a trap to lure Earth's best away from our homeworld." Joseph's blood had run cold at the revelation, the sick realization that his desperate quest to save his son might have doomed the very planet he had sworn to protect. But there could be no turning back now, no retreat in the face of this existential threat. They had set the charges, watching from the bridge as the station bloomed into a flower of fire and debris, a small victory against the looming darkness. But even as they had made the jump to hyperspace, the Zenari warship had appeared, its weapons raking across their shields, alarms shrieking in protest. Now adrift in an uncharted star system, their ship crippled and their supplies dwindling, Joseph stared into the infinite blackness beyond the viewscreen, the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders. The true scope of the Zenari's evil was only now becoming clear. A cancerous rot at the heart of the Council, a malevolent intelligence bent on the subjugation of all sentient life. He thought of Elias, his brave, beautiful boy, suffering in the clutches of those monsters, and of the billions of souls on Earth, blissfully unaware of the doom that hurtled towards them. He thought of the Asharans, of Zoran's haunted eyes and the scars that mapped his pale skin, and of the other races, unknowing puppets dancing to the Zenari's tune. Joseph's hands clenched into fists, the old familiar rage rising in his chest, cold and implacable. He would fight, and he would win, no matter the odds, no matter the cost. For Elias, for Earth, for the souls of every sentient being in the galaxy. The Zenari had sown the wind, and now they would reap the whirlwind. The hulking derelict of the precursor outpost loomed before them, an ancient secret buried in the heart of the uncharted star system. Joseph stepped out of the airlock, boots crunching on alien soil, the weight of the galaxy's fate heavy on his shoulders. Marcus and Emily flanked him, weapons at the ready, eyes scanning the eerie ruins for any sign of danger. Liam darted ahead, Zoran close on his heels, the Asheran's telepathic senses probing the long-dormant structure. They picked their way through crumbling corridors, the air thick with the dust of eons, until they reached the outpost's central control room. "This technology is unlike anything I've ever seen," Liam breathed, his fingers dancing across the alien interface. Zoran placed a slender hand on the console, his luminous eyes fluttering closed as he delved into the ancient systems. "I can feel it," the Asharan whispered, the echoes of a civilization long gone, their knowledge and secrets waiting to be unlocked. Under Liam's expert touch and Zoran's telepathic guidance, the outpost flickered to life, holographic displays springing into existence, bathing the chamber in an ethereal glow. Joseph leaned in, his eyes widening as he took in the wealth of information suddenly at their fingertips. "This changes everything," he murmured, a flicker of hope kindling in his chest. "Secret hyperspace lanes, advanced weapons tech. With this, we might actually stand a chance against the Zenari." As the team pored over the precursor data, adapting the ancient technology to their own ship and gear, a sudden distress call crackled over the comm. Liam's fingers flew over the controls, tracing the signal to its source. "So it's coming from a nearby planet," he reported, his brow furrowing. "A human colony under Zenari occupation." Joseph's grip tightened on the edge of the console, the faces of the Waystation Zeta survivors flashing through his mind. More innocents suffering under the Zenari's boot, more lives hanging in the balance. "We can't just leave them," Emily said quietly, echoing Joseph's thoughts. "If there's a chance we can help, we have to try." Joseph nodded, the decision crystallizing in his mind. "Gear up and get ready to move out," he ordered, his voice ringing with authority. "We're not going to let the Zenari terrorize any more of our people." The team descended on the occupied colony like avenging angels, plasma rifles blazing, cutting through the Zenari forces with merciless efficiency. Joseph led the charge, a whirlwind of lethal grace, his every shot finding its mark, every blow fueled by the rage and love that burned in his heart. In the heart of the embattled settlement, they found the insurgents battered but unbroken, their leader stepping forward to greet the Earth soldiers with a mixture of relief and suspicion. Captain Sarah Briggs was a woman forged in the crucible of war, her eyes haunted by the horrors she had witnessed, her voice rough with the weight of command. The Zenari have been using our people as guinea pigs, she explained, her fists clenched at her sides, testing their mind control tech, turning us into puppets. We managed to steal a prototype, but we need help figuring out how it works, how to protect ourselves. Liam and Zoran exchanged a glance, the weight of the task settling on their shoulders. They followed Sarah to the insurgents' makeshift lab, the stolen device waiting like a malevolent spider at the center of a web of wires and scanners. As they worked, delving deeper into the intricacies of the Zenari's insidious technology, a chilling realization began to dawn. The Council headquarters, the heart of the Galactic Council's power, was not just Elias's prison. It was the nerve center of the Zenari's mind control network, the site of the final activation that would enslave the galaxy. Joseph's hands clenched into fists, the old rage rising anew, tempered now by a newfound sense of purpose. They had the tools, the knowledge, and the allies they needed. It was time to take the fight to the enemy, to storm the gates of the Zenari's stronghold and rescue his son, no matter the cost. "Get some rest," he told the others, his voice low and fierce. "Tomorrow we end this one way or another." Joseph gripped the controls of the stealth ship, his knuckles white as he guided them through the secret hyperspace lanes revealed by the precursor data. The Council headquarters loomed before them, a sprawling space station bristling with defenses. The team exchanged tense glances, each understanding the gravity of the moment. "Remember the plan," Joseph said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through his veins. "Marcus, Sarah, you're on point. Disable those defenses and give us a clear path to Elias." Marcus and Sarah nodded, checking their weapons one final time. As the ship docked with the station, they burst onto the deck in a hail of plasma fire, Zenari soldiers and drones swarming to meet them. Marcus lobbed a plasma grenade into a cluster of chittering drones, the explosion ripping through their metallic carapaces. Sarah's rifle barked, each shot finding its mark in a Zenari soldier's compound eye. "Liam, Zoran, locate that mind control device," Joseph ordered over the comm. "We can't let them activate it." "On it," Liam replied, his fingers flying over a stolen Zenari datapad as Zoran's telepathic senses probed the station's systems. They moved swiftly through the chaos, evading patrols and hacking security doors. Joseph and Emily fought their way to the detention block, a sense of urgency driving them forward. They burst into Elias's cell, plasma rifles at the ready. The boy lay huddled in the corner, his face bruised and his eyes haunted. Joseph rushed to his son's side, gathering him into his arms. "Dad," Elias whispered, his voice hoarse. "I'm here, son. We're getting you out of here." As they turned to leave, a familiar figure blocked their path. Nox, his exoskeleton scarred from their previous encounter, clicked his mandibles in cruel amusement. "Leaving so soon," the Zenari taunted, "and just when things were getting interesting." Emily stepped forward, her plasma blade igniting with a snap hiss. "Get Elias out of here, Joe. I'll handle this bastard." Joseph hesitated, torn between his duty as a father and his loyalty to his friend. Emily met his gaze, her eyes fierce with determination. "Go!" she shouted, lunging at Nox in a blur of plasma and steel. Joseph scooped up Elias and ran, the sounds of battle echoing behind him. He burst onto the command deck where Marcus and Sarah were planting the last of their explosives. "The defenses are down," Marcus reported, wiping sweat and ichor from his brow. "But we've got incoming. A whole damn Zenari fleet just dropped out of hyperspace." Liam's voice crackled over the comm, triumphant and exhausted. "Mind control devices scrap. Zoran's broadcasting the truth to every council race. The Zenari are finished." But Joseph's heart clenched as he realized Emily hadn't returned. A heavy silence fell over the group, the weight of her sacrifice settling on their shoulders. They had struck a crippling blow to the Zenari, but the cost had been high. As they raced to the hangar, the station shuddering under the onslaught of the Zenari fleet, Marcus pulled Joseph aside. "Sarah and I rigged the reactor to blow," he said, his voice grim. "It'll take out the whole fleet, but someone has to stay behind to trigger it." Joseph opened his mouth to protest, but Marcus cut him off. "Get Elias and the others to safety, Joe. Sarah and I will finish this." With a final clasp of hands, a wordless goodbye between old friends, Joseph led Elias, Liam and Zoran to the waiting ship. As they blasted away from the station, he saw the Zenari fleet closing in, their weapons hammering at the failing shields. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the station detonated. The shockwave slammed into their ship, sending them tumbling through space as the Zenari fleet vanished in a maelstrom of fire and debris. Joseph clutched Elias close, tears streaming down his face as he watched the pyre of his friends burn among the stars. In the aftermath, as the council races struggled to fill the void left by the Zenari's fall, Joseph and his ragtag band of survivors became legends, whispered of in every corner of the galaxy. Some hailed them as saviors, while others feared the chaos their actions had unleashed. But for Elias, the scars of his ordeal ran deep. He looked to the stars, to the countless worlds still suffering under the yoke of oppression, and knew that his fight was just beginning. He would carry on the legacy of Emily, Marcus, and Sarah, a beacon of hope in a galaxy still shrouded in darkness. Joseph placed a hand on his son's shoulder, the weight of the future heavy upon them both. They had won a great victory, but the price had been higher than he ever could have imagined. As they charted a course for the unknown, he knew that the road ahead would be long and treacherous. But they would face it together, father and son, bound by the unbreakable bonds of love and sacrifice. For in the end, it was not the might of armies or the power of ancient technologies that had saved the galaxy, but the courage and resilience of the human spirit, the indomitable will to fight for freedom, no matter the cost. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.